muchos recuerdos de haber crecido como en el barrio, en Medellín, y si bien era peligroso, pero igual se podía jugar en la calle. Uno se mandaba a hacer el vestido de la primera comunión, y eso era como lo más exciting de todo el lío, porque más que la religión y eso era como el de poder hacerte un vestido. Entonces fuimos donde una costurera, fuimos a comprar la tela, elegimos qué tela queríamos y me acuerdo como la felicidad de cuando el vestido estaba listo y probármelo de nuevo. Maybe I'll have a look. Because it was on the long rolls, I remember.
I know.
Maybe it got moved?
No, I don't think this is not repeatable anymore. I think this is going to be closest options darling for you.
So I do draw a lot of inspiration from those stories, which is what I remember very vividly from my childhood in Colombia. But also revisiting also stories that are not so easy, you know, from maybe more like trauma or like family history that you don't know how else to approach. But in a way, through fashion, you can, you know, try to approach it in a different way, a more cheerful way. So this is a robe from, inspired a bit by the kimono, you know, something easy, loungy. This is from Anciana's first collection ever, so it's a bit of a fun one, you know. And then underneath, the idea of the arpilleras is like to portray any situation. So back in the 70s it was, you know, for a way of activism for vulnerable women. And then they would portray what was happening at the time, whether it was, you know, at homes, any problems, if people went missing because of the dictatorships, or, you know, there were no jobs, there were no food, or things like that. In my case, I wanted to keep it a bit more abstract, and for me, I just thought it was nice to have like these two sort of girls. Like, I don't want to be too literal, but it's like two heads, and then with like braids going on top, and they're sort of dreaming this. I mean, it's all very abstract, but for me, it's always been important to be inspired by Colombia, but also celebrate it. Not so much focusing on the negative things that are known in the world, you know, about violence, drugs, narcos, all of that. Like that all we know, and we understand that it's part of history, but what I think we need more of is to celebrate, you know, and to shift that perspective to a happy one. You see yourself in a team of design or space and fashion jobs that I'd had, and there were no Latinos. The only Latinos were the cleaners, or yeah, that was it really. So then I realized, wow, I mean, there is the talent, of course there is, but like where are those people? There's a big community in London of Latinos, but then why are they not working in this space, for instance? Where is the representation? Because we have such a beautiful, rich culture, and you do see it, that inspiration being, you know, culturally appropriated into big brands. So you do see the influence, but I was like, why don't I see, you know, a designer that comes from that place where that inspiration is taken from, and celebrate that. So then the challenge is always like, how do you display clothing beautifully that it doesn't look cliche or it doesn't need a mannequin necessarily? So then I came up with this idea of just doing like heads, and then it's all with, again, fabric scraps from different collections, from previous collections. For these three, it was for the latest collection, so from that piece. And then the Dance of the Migrants. Then the idea of the mask came about because if you're like migrating, you go to a new place, you put on a mask, I guess, you know? So the idea was to reflect that, and sometimes they're sad, sometimes they're happy, but then they're always different. So then to, you know, try to like evoke that feeling. We don't really need more products to be created, but we do need better products that can somehow, you know, be special enough that you would want to keep them forever and then pass on to your children, grandchildren. So we do need to think, you know, design with longevity, but also with them in mind that it needs to be something precious enough that people will want to keep longer. So, like, this is the fun part of it, you know, that you can just like wear. From a found wheel, like just from the street, and then the little cap is also from fabric scraps. I'm really excited what the future may bring. I hope that we can keep collaborating with amazing talent in London, and, you know, keep helping each other out, and just keep growing our beautiful community and create space for ourselves as well, and celebrate the beautiful heritage and culture.